Hi pen friends and those new to this channel. I'm Christy from Optimal Wellness, Yoga and More, and I am just going to go over the pens that I inked up for October and how they have worked out for me. So, first thing is 10 pens are way too many for me because half of these I didn't even really use. It wasn't a heavy journaling planner month for me, so that may be part of it. So the first one that I inked up was this Lamy Safari Charcoal, and the nib is a extra fine, and the ink is Diamine Oxblood. And this is a quite wet ink, so I didn't use it a lot, but it was a good pairing. And this one may carry through to next month, having a peek at the November Sterling ink. Yeah, I think I'd probably give this pairing an A. Like I said, I didn't use it a ton. Then we have this little guy, my Majohn Q1, and it has Dominant Industry Maple in it. And I did a little work on the nib, so it's running a little wet. I tested this yesterday and it still wrote. What is going on? So this review is actually going to be somewhat of a review on how well these pens and inks did sitting for a little bit. For those of you that have checked out the community tab, you know that I went on a trip this month. I went back home to Minnesota. And well, I brought a subset of these pens with me. I did not really end up with any journaling time, really. So, I guess given that it didn't want to start today, I'm going to give it a B. And because I dipped it in water to get it going again, it looks lighter here. But I enjoy this one, and I used it a lot. I didn't have a full fill, but I think I can tell that I definitely used it. Now, in preparation for my trip, I didn't want to take a eyedropper pen on the plane, so I put Dominant Industry Maple also in this Jinhao. And before I left, I couldn't get it to really write particularly. This stuff down here was all my attempts to get it writing, and it was pretty inconsistent. I did some work on the nib. But it's working a little better now that I'm home. So this is no, it's okay scribbling, but writing is not very good. And I got fine. Yes, I got fine nibs in these. And I did a full fill on this. And my rating for this would be maybe a D plus. I think what I'm going to want to do is to replace the nib in here. which, I mean, was part of the reason I got Jinhao's, was to play around with tuning the nibs myself and play around with substituting nibs. So I'm perfectly okay with, you know, spending basically twice the cost of the pen on another nib. So then next we have my first fountain pen, the Schaeffer Prelude, and this is an extra fine. And I have Diamine Ancient Copper in here. This gets an A. This has been my primary pen this month. So I did a tiny bit of Zentangle on my trip. I do want to try it in a broader nib so I can see more of the nuance of the Ancient Copper, but overall I really liked it. It was a good choice. Then I have another one of my Jinhao 82s. And this has, well, we'll start. This is an extra fine as well. And I have Fahrney's Copper Burst. Still writes after sitting, because I did not use this one. I feel like the color has shifted and gotten darker. Yeah, it was much redder originally. Let me put it on the same paper. Yeah, it's really darkened over time. So I'd probably give it a B. What I find interesting that is it darkened and lost the red. That's very interesting. Some of these I tried yesterday, some of these I didn't. And this one, my Jinhao 86, I did not try out yesterday. And this too has been sitting for the most part. These were marked as fines. And this is the Wearingeul Sanshiro, and I'm going to give this a D. It's too light. I'm sad about that because I really loved how it turned out in the Ahab with the flex, but it did not work. Now here is my Jinhao X450 with the old Fude nib. And this one I tried yesterday. It didn't work. I tried priming the feed. There wasn't any ink left in there. So, put an X for that. And that had in it Dominant Industry, November Leaves, and I would give this probably a C. I liked it. But it did really darken. And it dried up, obviously. I don't know if I was really that low on ink in the converter when I left on my trip, or if it just like completely evaporated away, but there's nothing in there. So that made me a wee bit sad. Next up, we have yet another Jinhao 82. And again, I'm sure you're just shocked by this. I need to sit down and play with mixing and matching the colors. Although I'd still like a few neutrals, like a white and a cream and maybe a black and a navy, something like that. But anyway, this is Birmingham Pen Co.'s Burlywood. Still writes after sitting. Ooh, and on here, I'm getting the sheen. Oh, that's cool. I hadn't noticed the sheen before. And for whatever reason, I don't feel like this one darkened. So, go figure. I'm going to give this one an A. Yeah. Because it has literally sat almost the entire month. And look at it. It still writes. It's not dried out. Love that. Then we have yet another Jinhao 82 with Birmingham Pen Co. Arugula at 50% dilution. And I want to compare this again. Yeah, it darkened. So I'm going to give it a B because of that. And what's kind of funny is I live in the mid-Atlantic, so it's not dry here. I can't imagine what this experience would be like if we still lived in Colorado. Next up is my Lamy All-Star, and it's got the Birmingham Pen Co. Antique Sepia. Yep, that is correct. In this, and that's a fine, but it feels more like a medium to me. I'm going to give it a B+. I don't think the color has shifted particularly. No. So this one is still writing and looks pretty decent. And then we have my last one. I kind of feel like it's darkened. Maybe not. No, not really. Okay, so this is the Jinhao X159, and I have to say I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the broader section. Most of my pens are kind of petite. The ones that aren't are pretty much my Ecos and my Lamys. And I certainly had nothing this chunky, but I actually quite like it. This is also Birmingham Pen Company, but it's the Prickly Pear at 50% dilution as well. And I'm going to give that a B+. I still think it's dark, but it writes after sitting. So overall, I'm pretty impressed, especially considering that I didn't really have, my higher end pens in this lineup. I definitely say that my two top winners would be these two, the Q1 with maple and the Schaeffer Prelude with the ancient copper. And I think really a lot of that has to do with just the color. And I have to say, sitting here looking at the Burlywood on this Tomoe River paper, I hardly used it, but man, that would be probably one I'd include here. So for next month, I think I'm going to keep the Oxblood. I may swap out the nib on that one to something a little broader because I think I want to use that color as my headings and kind of my highlight. So I may swap for possibly this fine nib because I think that could look nice. Or I might put the medium on. I'm undecided yet. And the Burlywood may be also going with me. And then I think it'll be mostly new ink. So I have a big pen cleaning session ahead. But I'm looking forward to re-inking some of my higher end pens and inking for the first time my brand new pen. I didn't want to ink that up before my trip because I didn't want to put ink in it and have it sit, and I didn't want to travel with it. So I am looking forward to that. So I'll probably be focusing on these plus the couple that I'll carry forward. I'm going to keep the Q1 going. It doesn't match the stickers for November, but I love the color so much that I think I'll just use it for other journaling things. And I don't know, I'd like to start doing some just plain old journaling, and maybe that's one way that I can use more inks in a month than just the few I pick to go with the sticker kits. And that would let me branch out into inks that just are never going to coordinate with the sticker kits. So we'll see. Thanks for being here. I'd love to hear what your favorite pen and ink pairing was this month. Did you use any of these inks or any of these pens? And of these, which one is your favorite color? Well, I hope to see you again, and until then, please be safe and be well. Aho, and so it is. Bye.